Welcome back, guys, to another video. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the affordability on these bikes and some of the things you should probably look into before purchasing a leader bike, especially brands like Aprilia or Ducati. I just wanted to get into a little bit more of the financial side of owning a leader bike, especially a Ducati or Aprilia, or even any leader bike at that. One of the first things you should look into before purchasing one of these is the insurance, because I'm a 20-year-old man who has a semi-bad driving record. I have, I think, like 2 speeding tickets on my record, and I'm paying upwards of $700 a month for insurance on this 2023 Aprilia RSV4. I've talked to a lot of people, and it turns out that's pretty normal. One of my friends, he's 22 years old, and he just picked up an S1K, and his monthly payment on that thing, I think, is somewhere around $500 a month. And he's paying $700 a month in insurance. So that's one big thing that you should definitely watch out for when looking into buying a bike. Now, there are several bikes that are 1000cc bikes that are quite cheap for insurance, like the sports touring. Almost any sports touring bike is going to be cheaper. Like the Ducati 959 Super Sport, that's the one that I had before this bike. I ended up only driving it for a couple thousand miles, but that thing was a lot cheaper for insurance because of the fact that it was a sports touring bike. You should look into maintenance as well on these bikes before you pick them up. Now, I've heard stories that Aprilias and Ducatis seem to have a long wait period on parts, especially from dealers here in Phoenix. You gotta order parts, and it can sometimes take months to get here. That's one thing I would look into also. I bought this bike a couple months ago, so I've never actually done an oil change on it yet. It's doing another like 4,000 miles, and I've put barely that on here. I think I put actually around 1,200 miles on this bike so far. So once I get the miles up a lot higher, I can do a better kind of review on the maintenance. But as far as the affordability on these bikes, you gotta look out for that, because you can probably afford the bike, but the question is, can you afford to keep the bike? That's something nobody really thinks about when they just get in a rush. Like, I gotta have a bike this summer, and they just full send. They go on Marketplace and they find a good deal. They go and purchase the bike, whether that's a 2011, S1K. They're great bikes, but then you go look into insurance, and you're paying $400 a month in insurance, even if you have a pretty clean driving record. As a man in your late teens, early 20s, you're going to be eaten alive by insurance, especially on anything over 600cc. Even with 600, like R6s, they're diabolically expensive for insurance. So look out for that for sure. Now, I also wanted to talk a little bit about the last video I posted on whether or not the Aprilia RSV4 is a great beginner bike. Now, I had a few comments of people saying, yeah, you're just using the safety features, turn them up and you'll be good, whatever. You're never going to actually learn how to use the bike if you run it with all the safety features on it. I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'm learning with you guys. I'm not an expert. I've been riding for a couple of months now. I will say, I'm not here to give any actual advice, if you will. I'm just kind of throwing out what I've learned along the way, and hoping I can get some of that back from you guys. Which the last video I posted, I said, kind of how I felt about everything, and posted it, and expected to get 20 views. It ended up getting 1,500 views in the first 48 hours, which is crazy. Huge thanks to you guys for that. And I also would like to thank you guys for just hopping in the comments and asking questions and putting, you know, some of your thoughts in there on whether or not it's a great idea to start on a leader bike. I already know it's one of those conversations that, yes, it's never a good idea to start on a leader bike, but I don't think that you should, you know, let other people tell you what to do with your life necessarily, unless it's going to get you killed, which buying a leader bike probably will. So, like I say, you'll either have a lot of fun or you'll be dead. That's kind of the risk you run with these bikes. Oh, he's got the Corona. Nice, nice. Pop a beer, chug it, drink and ride. Now I do want to say, if you are a younger man and you don't got a huge budget for buying a bike, do not buy an Aprilia or a Ducati, okay? Anything for that matter, and holy shit. I will say, those will eat you alive for insurance, and also, I mean maintenance, sorry. Those will eat you alive. You have to be careful when looking into these bikes. Even S1Ks, they're just incredibly expensive to maintain, and they're outrageously expensive for insurance. Now, I've heard a lot of really good stories from people buying older bikes, like the 2005 CBR 1000s, or sorry, CBR 600s. They do really good on insurance prices for some reason, and really good, I mean a couple $100 a month still, but obviously a lot less than you're going to be paying for a leader bike. Now there's a few other things that I kind of wanted to go over, and a few of those things I should have cleared up in the last video, but the way you ride these bikes, it is important to some extent, but you have to not take it as a, I guess you could say, too personally when people say you should watch your technique super close and you should only ride a certain way with the seating position just right and your feet in the right place. I will say it is pretty important that you do put the pegs on the balls of your feet if you are doing any kind of cornering at all, because I've had a few times where I scraped my boot when, you know, obviously I'm still a new rider, so there's a lot of things I'm learning about that. So that's one thing to look out for. But as far as the seating position goes, it's different for everybody else. You kind of just have to figure it out. Like I say, I'm not the expert here, but it's one of those things that you kind of just have to figure out for yourself. Long turn. This thing sounds so nice. Oh my gosh. Anyways, today's video is going to be kind of short. I'm hoping I can spread some kind of, I guess, awareness on safety, which I'm not wearing any gear, so I do need to practice what I preach a little bit here. But I want this to be, this channel especially, to be a place where I can learn together with you guys. I'm not here to give you guys any, like, actual advice. And that's not exactly true, because I am giving advice, but take it with a grain of salt, because I'm still a new rider and I'm here to learn with you guys, grow with you guys, and I feel like it should be a place where you guys can say how you feel and you can give me advice on some things, and it's not just another one of these vloggers who's like, you shall do this and you shall not do that, you know. Damn. Also, the braking on these bigger bikes are just so good. I mean, I haven't ridden any bike under 900cc ever in my entire life, so I can't really talk too much on that. I do have a video coming soon. My friend is going to let me do a video on his S1000. I'm going to do a review on that and kind of tell you guys what I think about how it rides and whether or not that is a good purchase for somebody who is new to the biker world. So thanks again, guys, for tuning in and watching. Like I said, it's going to be a short video, but I got more content coming soon, either on the Grom or the S1K. So we'll see you guys in the next ones. Thanks again for watching.